I'm Izzy. I'm one of the arts and crafts instructors at Barracudas. I'm going to be showing you how to tie-dye today. So before you get started, you're going to want to make sure that you have an adult to help you, and that you're in a space that you don't mind getting dirty. So that could be your garden. I'm in my dad's studio today. You're going to make sure you want to be wearing clothes that you don't mind getting dirty. You are going to want rubber gloves, which I have here, or any gloves that aren't going to leak liquid through them, because you don't want dye all over your hands because it's very difficult to get out. You need 2, 3, 4, however many colours you have, buckets or squeezy bottles to mix your dye in and then put onto your white fabric. So whether that's a t-shirt, socks, gloves, a bandana, anything that you want, you can tie-dye. If you don't have actual tie-dye like this, these are tubs of powdered dye which you mix with water. You can mix food colouring with water and it will give you the same effect as tie-dye. So to get started, we are going to mix our dye. So what I've done here is added my powdered dye to water and I'm just mixing it really well. If you're using food dye, you just do the same thing. Add plenty of food dye and mix it really, really well so it's all combined. My dye is mixed. I'm going to take my t-shirt, make sure that it's the right way round. And I'm going to either roll it or fold it. So I could roll it I could fold it in half and I could roll it like this, or I could take it from the middle and scrunch it into a circle, so like this. And then once I've got whatever shape that I want, I'm going to take some elastic bands and I'm going to tie them quite tightly around my t-shirt so that when I dip them in my dye, what I end up with is some white bits left where the elastic bands were. You can also just tie knots if you wanted to. If you were making, say, a bandana or a pair of socks, you could just tie some knots in your material. But I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Now that our dye is mixed and we have our gloves on, which is very important, and our t-shirt or fabric or whatever we're using is tied, we are going to do the fun bit, which is dunking our t-shirts into the dye. Or if you're using squeezy bottles, like ketchup bottles or whatever, you can start squeezing them all over your t-shirt to create a lovely pattern when you take your elastic bands off. Okay, my buckets are here on the floor. I'm going to take my t-shirt and really carefully, try not to make too much mess, I'm going to just dunk my t-shirt carefully, making sure that all of the white that I can see is covered in dye. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to take a plastic bag and I'm going to put my t-shirt in the plastic bag. So as you can see, I'm dipping my tied t-shirt into my tie-dye mix and I'm making sure that the colours I want are on either side and that all of the white bits are mixed, and I'm also mixing the pink and the blue together to make a bit of a purpley colour, as I only had 2 colours, so I've managed to get a third colour. Okay, so now I have my t-shirt all covered in dye. I've squeezed the excess liquid out. I'm going to take my plastic bag, pop this in my plastic bag, make sure that it is completely sealed in there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it for around 2 hours, from anything from 2 hours to overnight. And then once that's done, I can pop it in the washing machine or rinse it in a bucket of warm water and soap and leave it to dry, and then you're going to have a beautiful tie-dye t-shirt or socks or bandana or whatever you've decided to make. So I left my t-shirt for 3 hours and now I'm taking the elastic bands off, and you'll see the white where the dye didn't get to the middle of the t-shirt because of the elastic bands. If you want less white than mine, you could leave your t-shirt soaking for a little bit longer, although the white is what achieves the tie-dye effect. I'm now going to put it in the washing machine just to get rid of the extra dye and stop it from transferring onto my skin or onto any other clothes when I wear it. So it's now the next day and I have my lovely finished tie-dye t-shirt. The colours have faded a little bit in the wash, that's to be expected, so don't worry if that happens to yours. Yours will probably look very different to mine. The pattern will be different, you might have less white or more white on yours, you'll have used different colours, but that's what is so fun about tie-dye, is that every single time you do it, it comes out different. And now that you've learned a new skill, it's something that you can do whenever you want to. You can tie-dye t-shirts and shorts, you can tie-dye jeans if you wanted to, you can tie-dye white bed sheets, you can tie-dye things that aren't white if you wanted to, if they are a pale colour. You can tie-dye black things with bleach mixed with water, making sure that an adult helps you. Whatever you decide to tie-dye, make sure that you get permission from whoever looks after you at home, that they're okay with you tie-dyeing that thing, because you don't want to tie-dye something that they really don't want changed. So it's really good for the environment as well, because you're reusing things, recycling, and it's just a lot of fun. And I hope that you've enjoyed learning how to tie-dye, and I hope that you have a really, really amazing summer.